What up, everybody? Now, this Saturday, I'll be making an announcement that will affect my wrestling career, and also probably affect the Lucha Lounge and affect Behind the Curtain. Rich reminds me, if you haven't seen episode 8 of Behind the Curtain, I hope you'll take this time after you're watching this video to check out episode 8 as well as all the extras. Be sure you've liked Dojo Productions as well as like my fan page. Anyway, so I figured, you know what, I document the days leading up to the announcement, kind of where my head's at, so on and so forth. But before I go any further, I wanted to talk about Impact. MXN Pride had asked me to how I would improve the current status of the product, and I was going to release a video earlier on this, but thought that I would wait till after the results of the pay-per-view. I was on the fence about getting the pay-per-view, Bound for Glory, their biggest pay-per-view of the year, but convincing my roommates to watch Impact is one thing. It's out of the question to try to convince them to help put forward money toward a pay-per-view purchase of Impact. So, needless to say, I waited till the results came out. I didn't buy it streaming or anything like that. I'm sure I'm going to go on YouTube and hear plenty of people's reviews and thoughts and so on and so forth. My main fix would be putting the title on Bobby Roode. I felt if you had done that, since you were building this guy up, regardless of what anyone says, even the higher ups, regardless of what they say, you put the guy there, you're building it up. It all seems logical that he's going to get the title. Then I read the results, and I'm not completely surprised that they decided to go the route of controversial finish, but Kurt Angle retains. And I'm not going to knock Kurt Angle because I believe he's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, both amateur as well as professional. And he's done a lot for the business, and I consider him a great champion. But I figured it was Bobby Roode's time. I figured so much could have come out of it based on what Hogan had said on the radio, on interviews. I felt like, I don't care how anything else goes, if you make Bobby Roode champ, you're showing everyone, you're showing the wrestling world that you are ready to move towards the future, pushing the younger guys, the not so established guys, and pushing a guy like him to the forefront. And that didn't happen. So I guess it's back to the drawing board for Impact. And I'm disappointed. I'll say it, disappointed. But on a personal front, started Insanity, my second round of it, and tonight I will be going to the gym to do some shoulders, do shoulders workouts. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to my new training regimen, my new weight training regimen that I'm going to be implementing. I'm looking forward to the week. Looking forward to eating right and whatnot. So, like I said, I'll be documenting between now and Saturday, which is the day of my announcement. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show, people. And I'll talk to you soon. Well, I did not get to see Raw last night, unfortunately. After work, I went to the gym and started my weightlifting routine, which started with shoulders. So did that for about 35, 40 minutes. Pretty good shoulder workout. Felt pretty good about it. I started utilizing machines in my routine, which is good. I was able to lift a little bit heavier. Finished off with the shrugs and whatnot, and for those who are interested. And then I got home, and about 9 o'clock I had an interview with Indie Wars Radio. Stan Callahan hosts that show, and we were there to talk about the show this Saturday, TSW's Humble Street Fight. But we talked a bit about indie wrestling in general, behind the curtain, the Lucha Lounge, and me and Sam go way back. I always appreciate the time he gives me, interviewing me and whatnot. So I got about a 30-minute segment, which was cool. Again, got to put over TASW and TCW and other companies that we're working with and working for. Like going to Gulf Coast on the 29th and again to TCW on the 30th for their Halloween Hardcore. Workout went well. This morning I got up, did Insanity, did the plyo cardio circuit, 40 minutes. Just as tough as I remember it the first time around. But I felt good about my wind overall. This evening I'm going to TASW's Kingdom Arena, where they hold their school, and gonna get in the ring, kind of see where I'm at, see how I feel. The last few workouts have gone pretty well over there. I feel my wind's pretty good, but I always want to be reaffirmed of that. And I'll probably talk a little more in depth of my decision, why I'm deciding where I'm going. I got a lot of factors to think about. I'll cover those in the next few entries, so stay tuned. There are definitely reasons for and reasons against returning to the ring. One of the big reasons against would be being re-injured. Obviously, I don't want to be in the same predicament I was in March and April, being in the kind of pain that I was in. I really don't want to go back there. However, I will say that especially over the last 9 weeks, I've really focused on just getting in better shape, just for me in general. Lost nearly 30 pounds through Insanity and then subsequent weight training. I listened to my doctors. I took every precaution. I've gotten in the ring to see if I even felt good enough days following to really be realistic about wanting to do this. Big reason for is I simply love performing. I miss it more than anything. I do feel like I've got some unfinished business. That would probably be another reason. Being on behind the curtain, seeing a lot of guys performing, watching their highlights has made me it's motivated me to want to get it back in the ring. I have a good working relationship with a couple of promotions, and through behind the curtain I've met some other promoters that I wouldn't have normally met, and it seems like the doors are open to possibly go into places. There are places that I'd like to go to that I went to at one point, didn't feel like I really put out my best effort, or didn't like the way things had gone the first time, and maybe that was my attitude, and I like to do something positive. I don't know, in the end, it's really boils down to, is it worth it? Is it going to be worth it to me to do it? And that's the thing that I got to look at, from a economy standpoint, from a personal standpoint. I got to do it for the right reasons. And I got my hopes and my thoughts and my goals. If I do come back, what I'd like to happen. So we'll see. Guess that's the big thing. We'll see. I did watch E60 last night. I did see the segment, The Wrestler, talking about Scott Hall. Really interested in the fact that ESPN covered him and his story, and honestly, it was a really well done segment, and just sad to see what Scott Hall's become, to see what drugs and drug abuse can do, to see a guy who's gone through rehab multiple times and just hasn't took, and to hear WWE spending so much money on him, not really going into detail, other than like 6 figures, still a hefty price to see it not work, see that guy struggling. I mean, I was a big fan of Scott's for so long, from the Razor Ramon gimmick to before that. I mean, I remember him as a Diamond Stud. But just to see what he's become, I mean, it really, truly is kind of a cautionary tale. And also, kind of proof of what the industry was back then. And how stark of a contrast it is nowadays. Definitely isn't what it was in that respect. Quite a few differences from back then. So, on a personal front, I've got weight training and Insanity this evening. So I'm looking forward to that. And I am looking forward to Saturday. I think my mind's been made up. So I'm sure I'll talk about that here in a minute. Later. On a completely separate note, have you guys caught the Ruthless Ryan Davidson story on Bill DeMott and the International? I'm going to be honest, I did not know what the International was. I mean, I knew tackle, drop down, leapfrog, hip toss. I know what the spot is. We call it the dummy spot. I had never heard it referred to in that way as the International. So I honestly learned something new. And if you haven't checked it out, you should. All right. So yeah, James Storm wins the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. He wrestles for Impact Wrestling, where wrestling matters. However, it didn't really matter in the first 45 minutes of the show, because that's how long it took to get to the first actual match, which was a tag match, a knockouts tag match. But congrats to James Storm. I mean, he's been there since day one. If anyone's more deserving, I would have said Bobby Roode. I was going to book Bobby Roode to be the TNA heavyweight champion, but Hogan carries a lot of weight in decision making. Apparently felt James Storm was more ready for the main event spotlight. And I don't have a problem with James Storm as champ, especially since he used a super kick to win, and I'm a fan of any guy who can use the super kick to win matches. So, but yeah, man, congrats to him. Hopefully this opens the doors for a lot of guys, because James is now the heavyweight champion. So, one more day before the announcement, before the decision, and man, I'm excited. I'm very much looking forward to finally making the announcement, finally making my decision heard. I'm hoping for a pretty solid crowd, a pretty good-sized crowd, and I'm sure I'll the next segment, I'll tell you guys what my decision's going to be and how it's going to impact things moving forward. And I didn't mean that pun at all. So, talk to you soon. Well, the day's finally here. My announcement. Fixing to head over to TASW's Humble Street Fight at Coach's Sports Bar. Behind the curtain, in tow, me and Justin Smith and Scoot. Should make for a very interesting night. Really wasn't sure if this night was going to come. Back in March or April, everything was up in the air. I was really more concerned about my health, my well-being. I listened to the doctors, I went through therapy, went through physical rehab and whatnot. Once I was given the opportunity, I started working out, doing insanity, lifting weights, trying to just get better overall, just get healthier overall. And then once we started doing Behind the Curtain, and I started consulting on shows and booking other shows and speaking to talent and just watching shows, being a spectator, I came to the realization that I'm not done yet. Not by a long shot. I'm not going to call this the last run, but if it is, I'm going to enjoy every moment of it. I appreciate everybody who's given me their support, given me their kind words, people who've prayed for me. It's all very much appreciated. But I'm here to announce that, much like I'm going to announce tonight, that November 5th I'll be returning not only to TASW, but to the wrestling business as an active performer. And I'm very much looking forward to it. I've got a long road ahead of me, hopefully, God willing. And I'm very much looking forward to it. Got a lot of passion left. I plan to perform better than I've ever performed, entertain more than I've ever entertained, fight harder than I've ever fought. Definitely give the people a reason to mark out and prove once again that there is no show without Steve DeMarco. So, to all of you, sit back, relax, and enjoy future shows. And stay cool, stay sexy, stay classy. But for all those who support me, for all those who truly DeMark out, and for all of those who visit the Lucha Lounge, you already are. Talk to you soon. Later.